Now, there's another issue that's very, very much on my mind. It's on your minds. And when I first started to think about this topic, I was focused on the United States. And what I was thinking about is that gap between the poor and the wealthy. And I don't really think the poor can think about that gap because they're struggling some at $2 a day. And they're not in a position to get an education or have their children get an education. So they don't even see that gap. But sometimes on television, what do they see? They see how the wealthy people in the Western world, and also in parts of Asia and South America, live. So I focused on the gap in the United States. And when I looked at it, I felt like the United States, our culture and all sorts of things, it's like some material, a fabric. And when the two sides get far and far apart, you know, it's not good for us. That material snaps, and it's to our benefit, those that are in the West that have money in the United States, to try to do what we can do to close that gap a little bit. But when I started thinking about this gap, I started thinking about the world. It's a phenomena that's really profound. In 10 years, there's going to be about another 1 billion people on this planet, and most of them are going to be poor, okay? And suddenly, those that have some money, we are going to be surrounded by the poor like never before. And when I was thinking about that, it was like a nightmare came to my mind, because the wealthy, there's a very small percentage of them, yes, they can build walls and put up a lot of barbed wire to protect themselves from the hungry people of the world and the people who want to work, but it becomes really a dangerous society, a dangerous world when there are so many poor people. And that gave me the idea to make this painting, and I call it "The Poor Closing the Gucci Gap." And I'll just say a few things about it. I sort of think the wealthy, and maybe I'm put in that category, we have barbed wire protecting us from the poor. But, you know, if the poor really multiply and have no means of bettering themselves, food, education, etc., you know, they are easily going to break through that barbed wire. And what's going to happen is they are going to work all the way up and get into the Gucci gap. They're going to get real personal, real close. So I just want to say, I try to do the little bit I can do to try to help close that gap. And I think it's good if all of you think about yourselves, and yourselves dictate that you do something to make sure the gap closes or doesn't get any larger.